Hi, I'm Christian Brindle, and welcome to the Everything Medicare Podcast.
What's up, Everything Medicare Podcast Nation? Hey, this is Christian Brindle, wherever you are and however you might be listening to me today. Thank you so much for taking the time. And folks, this is episode 240 of the Everything Medicare Podcast. My name is Christian Brindle. I'm your host. Every single week, we bring you a podcast where we discuss the stuff that matters, your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security, and everything that has to do with that golden age called retirement. And folks, today we're going to be discussing $0 premium plans. Now, the question I always get asked is, can you pick up is it true that you can pick up a $0 premium plan? And the short answer to that is yes. Thanks for listening. End of show, right? No, not really. But the obvious answer is yes. There are many $0 premium Medicare Advantage plans available. They're able to offer these $0 premium plans because they receive funding from the federal government. We've done many episodes diving into exactly what that really looks like and what that means. The question that I want to answer on this episode today is, should you? Should you pick up a $0 premium plan and leave it at that? Folks, I'm a big believer in I do believe that the goal for any single individual is to determine and essentially isolate what your perfect level of coverage is. You want to be essentially in the middle because there's two extremes. You can be underinsured or you can be overinsured. And I think everyone's goal is to try to find that middle ground. Like, what is it going to look like? How do I find the perfect level of being insured? Now, sometimes that's a difficult sweet spot to hit. And more or less, everybody's trying to hit that sweet spot, though, and that's what everyone's goal is. I talk about this a lot in my book that I put out last year, The Insurance Funnel. 9 simple tests every insurance policy must pass before purchase. You can get it on Amazon. But I talk about essentially my process for determining if a plan is worth it, if you should pick it up, so on and so forth. Now, obviously, there's going to be people that will hear this and think that, well, we should get a $0 premium advantage plan, or, there are people that hear this and think we should get a Medicare supplement, which obviously is going to cost a premium, and depending on where you live, it could be somewhere between $100 to $200, maybe even $300 a month in premium. And so, obviously, there's the debate between Medicare Advantage versus Medicare Supplement. I'm going to stay out of the Medicare Supplement side of this conversation, though, just for today, because we've done so many episodes about Medicare Supplement. Today, I just want to talk about Medicare Advantage. Let's say one is to pick up a Medicare Advantage plan, and they pick up a $0 premium plan, and let's say it's a fine plan. Should you leave it at that? That's the question that we want to essentially dive into and dissect today. Now, I talked about the two extremes, underinsured or overinsured. And let's say you had to pick one or the other. Hypothetically speaking, let's say you had to pick one or the other. Would you rather be underinsured or overinsured? Would you rather be underinsured, pay very little premiums, but maybe not be very protected very well? Or would you rather be overinsured, pay maybe a little more than you need to, and be protected very well? Obviously, I'm a biased party because this is something I deal with on a day-to-day basis, but part of which actually helps me have more wisdom with this because I see every scenario, the good, the bad, the ugly. I see what happens if you're overinsured and if you're underinsured. If it was me, I would rather be overinsured. I'm probably overinsured at this point in my life. In the Insurance Funnel book, I actually break down how I'm insured. for those of you who are interested. It's changed a little bit since I actually put the book out, but it's more or less still pretty spot on. I would rather be overinsured. What I always encourage people to consider, of course, this is not going to be a blanket statement. A lot of this is going to depend on where you actually live, because in some places, in some states, Medicare Advantage plans that have $0 premiums are so spectacular in terms of their benefits, other things might not necessarily be needed. But for most of the people, in most markets, most states, there's a very, very strong argument to pick up one, if not two extra plans, maybe even three, to go with your Medicare Advantage plan and pay $60 to $100 a month for the three of those extra plans on top of your $0 premium plan. Let me explain. When you are on a $0 premium Medicare Advantage plan, and obviously it doesn't even have to be a $0 premium Medicare Advantage plan, it could be a $20 a month plan, a $30 a month plan, a $40, a $50. The truth lies really with Advantage plans in general, not just $0 premium Advantage plans, but $0 premium Advantage plans are what seems to be the hot topic these days, so that's why we're talking about it. Most Medicare Advantage plans are going to leave you fairly exposed in three particular areas. Number one, cancer. I've done episodes about cancer insurance in the past. Medicare Advantage is going to leave you exposed in two ways for cancer. Number one, most Medicare Advantage plans pay 80% of treatment like chemotherapy and leave 20% behind for you to pay. Up to the plan's max out of pocket. Now, that max out of pocket could be more damaging in some places than others. The highest max out of pocket can be in 2021, as I talked to you about this, is $7,550 for an in-network plan. If it's a PPO plan, it can obviously be quite a bit more. It can be over $10,000. But let's say you have a high max out of pocket, $7,550. That's a lot of change. That's a lot of money for someone to come up with. And 20% of chemotherapy costs, folks, don't kid yourself here. You will hit that very quickly. It will not take long. You could have a $15,000 max out of pocket. You're probably going to hit that, paying 20% of chemotherapy costs. So that's the obvious one. But let's say you have a $2,000 max out of pocket on your Medicare Advantage plan. It's not a big of a deal, right? Well, Medicare Advantage plans include your Medicare Part D coverage. We've done many episodes about Medicare Part D coverage. In fact, we actually did an episode 2 episodes ago, episode 238, where we dissect Medicare Part D. So go back and listen to that if you want more details on what I'm about to say here. But typically, when someone has cancer, in a lot of situations, they're going to have to take very expensive cancer prescriptions as well as have the treatment. And those cancer prescriptions will typically fall into the Tier 5 category in Medicare Part D. And for those of you who know anything about Medicare Part D coverage, like I said, go listen to that episode if you want to know more. But they have no max out of pocket, no limit to what your prescription cost could be. The Medicare Advantage max out of pockets are for medical bills only. Prescription coverage is separate. And a lot of times you're stuck paying 20, 30% of these prescriptions that are used for cancer treatments. And they can sometimes be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. A month. And so picking up a cancer plan is probably ideal for most people. 1 out of 4 people, depending on your statistics, some might say 1 out of 3. Some statistics might show 1 out of 4. But a good portion of people will get cancer in their lifetime. It's not fun to think about. I know. I get it. I don't want to think about that. But it's the facts. You should have a cancer plan if you have a Medicare Advantage plan. $20, $30, $40 a month, you're covered. You're at least protected. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 of lump sum cancer coverage will essentially fill in all of these potential holes and gaps if you get diagnosed and you need expensive treatment. You should have that. In my opinion, I think it's smart. I'd rather be overinsured than under. What else? I'm a big believer in hospital indemnity plans. Didn't used to be. I've seen the light because I've seen people get hit very hard financially for inpatient hospital copays. Now, in some markets, like I said, it's not as big of a deal. Some markets are going to have very low hospital copays. It's not as big of a problem. But in a lot of places, someone can expect $200, $300, $400 a day in the hospital for days 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 or 1 through 7 or 1 through 8 or something along those lines. A hospital indemnity plan you can pick up usually for $30, $40 a month, $50 a month. It's kind of like an Aflac policy, similar. I think they're actually a little better, personally. And they're essentially going to act as indemnity plans to pay the hospital copays, but they can also pay some other copays as well, like your ambulance copay, usually a couple $100. You can have outpatient surgery riders added on with a lot of these, very minimal extra charge, and you can essentially add as much to it as you want. I am a big believer in hospital indemnity plans. I'm also a big believer in dental, vision, and hearing, although this is more of a gray area because nowadays a lot of Medicare Advantage plans are going to come with quite a bit of dental in a lot of places. Now, you have to look at everything that comes with the Advantage plan. You have to look at the plan's network. How big is their provider network? How many hospitals and doctors can you go to? How's the medical benefits? How's the restrictions? How's the prescription coverage? Does it cover your prescriptions well? So sometimes you'll see plans in the Medicare Advantage world, folks, that have amazing dental benefits, but everything else in the plan is subject. You have to take everything that comes with the plan. You can't just take the dental and not take the rest. So dental, vision, hearing can be valuable, but in a lot of markets, you're going to find that if you pick up a Medicare Advantage plan, it's pretty easy to get a plan that comes with quite a bit of dental. But even if that's not enough or it's minimal, whatever the case might be, a dental, vision, hearing plan is not bad, $30, $40 a month, something like that. In my perfect world, if it was me and I was dead set on picking up a $0 premium Medicare Advantage plan, I would invest probably $80 to $100 a month in those 3 plans, because then between those 3, you're very, very, very well protected. Now, people say, well, if I wanted to do that, why wouldn't I just pick up a Medicare supplement? In some ways, you might even be covered better than a Medicare supplement would cover you. You're obviously covered much better on the dental, vision, hearing. Medicare supplement doesn't help you there. You're obviously covered better on the cancer, right? Medicare supplements pay 100% usually, or full coverage, if not close to full coverage, depending on the supplement. That's going to take care of your chemotherapy costs. That's true. However, the Part D coverage I talked about is going to be the exact same issue. So you're probably covered better there. Obviously, the hospital indemnity part of things is not necessary as much because Medicare supplements are full coverage, if not close to full coverage, on the medical bills. But in my opinion, I think it's a very, very reasonable argument. Heck, shoot, you can get the bare minimum of all these things I'm talking about. Maybe even throw out the dental, vision, hearing, pay $40, $50, $60 a month for 2 plans, and you're going to be covered substantially well. I would rather be overcovered than undercovered. And I think these products are very good. The Medicare Advantage plans have a lot of positives to them. You just got to keep in mind that sometimes they come with limitations. That is why you hear a lot of people complain about them. Now, I think they're great plans. I think even having one by itself, in a lot of cases, you can be covered very well, especially if you compare it to like a Obamacare plan or a marketplace plan without subsidies or a lot of different types of insurances. They don't typically come with these high deductibles that you have to meet before you get any coverage. Some plans have them, but very few. And so this is what you got to be thinking about, folks. Just keep this in mind. If I had to pick one of the 3 for me to pick up that I talked about, it would be the cancer plan, without a doubt. I have a cancer plan on myself, my daughter, my wife. I practice what I preach. The second thing on my list there, depending on your needs, would probably be dental, vision, hearing if you don't have any on your Advantage plan. But if you do have a good amount of it, then I would go hospital indemnity and then dental, vision, hearing afterward. You got to understand the holes that come with a Medicare Advantage plan. It's not a perfect plan. It's a great way to go. A Medicare supplement's a great way to go. But you have to understand the strengths and the weaknesses of both. The weakness of the Medicare Advantage plan is that if you do get sick, if you use it a lot, if you start being in and out of the hospital quite a bit, the bills can rack up quickly. So why not protect yourself a little better from that? You're probably still going to save premium over a Medicare supplement. And isn't that the whole reason all along? Now, a lot of people are going to hear this and they're going to essentially continue just to pick up the bare minimum of coverage. That's fine. That's your right. But it's important that you know that there's another way for you to do it, and there's other ways that you can do this. There's other things you can pair with what you have, and it might protect you a little better. And for some of you, it might be worth it. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for listening to this episode. Short, sweet, to the point. We're going to have a monster episode ready for you next week. I'm really excited about it. If you missed last week's episode where I spoke with Spencer Anderson with Cigna about Medicare Advantage plans, go back and listen to that. That was a really, really great conversation. It was in person here at the office, and really enjoyed it. Got a lot of positive feedback on it, so go back and listen to that episode if you haven't heard it already. My company works with people in 38 states, folks. 38 beautiful states on their Medicare health plans. If you're listening to the audio version of this, go to the show notes. We have our phone number listed to our office, as well as a list of the states that we work with people in. We'd love to help you with your Medicare health plan if you need some assistance. Our office number is 801-255-5340, 801-255-5340. Thanks for listening every single Monday. The Everything Medicare Podcast, the best podcast on the internet today, going over Medicare information and educational content. Appreciate you, folks. Please leave us a review if you found this helpful. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you. And until next time, have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next Monday.